So the origin of Cortana was really centered on how do we think about the next generation of search. Program manager on my team had this great insight that the future of search is about personal, it's about knowing you, knowing results, it's about proactive, giving you things based on knowing your patterns without you having to ask. And it was a really good time of exploration for the team. What we found after looking at this for a few more months was we're on a bigger concept. This isn't about the future of search, this isn't about phone, this is about the way that we think people are going to interact with their devices and services in the future. And when we think about the future of Windows and we think about humanizing computing, this idea that we could build a natural interface, that we could build a personal assistant that you want to interact with, that knows your patterns, your behaviors, what you want, can predict things for you, can bring things without you asking, really got us excited and felt like a good customer-centered mission for the team. The primary message of the Windows 10 story for Cortana is where you need her to be on Windows. I wake up in the morning, I remember there's a couple of things I want to track when I get to work. I happen to do that stuff on my phone because it's by my nightstand. I get to work, that stuff is right there for me at my PC. We think that's the vision that we set out to build 3 years ago, and it's finally starting to come to life. And we think it's great for customers. Just the idea that we can have these fluid experiences that roam across your devices now is very exciting. The other thing we think about with PC is it introduces a few new cases for us, where we think the phone is more about snackable interaction moments during the day. The PC is about steady periods of productivity. I spend a couple hours and I'm working furiously on something and oh, I forgot to send a mail to my wife to do something, or send a mail asking her a question. I can stay in whatever I'm doing and say, send a mail to Phoebe, I forgot to pick up this, can you please do that for me? Thanks, I love you, bye. Like this idea that that assistant's there with a little notepad, taking notes for you and helping offload things so you can really stay in the zone when it comes to productivity is another important thing that we're thinking really hard about. Another area that we're still exploring with, and I think we've got some good early insights on, is communal scenarios. So a lot of people have PCs where lots of people in the house use them. A lot of people use PCs for things like music, storing music, listening to music. So the idea you could walk up and say, hey Cortana, put on some music, and that can happen, and if you have your speakers hooked up, that music can play. We're really excited to see where those scenarios go. This assistant will never be any good if you don't execute on this core principle. It has to be personal. It has to know you better than any other piece of software and any other thing that you could potentially use. That is a high bar that we set for the team. The next thing we think a lot about is it has to be helpful. We call it getting things done, we call it helpful, but if you look at the core mission of an assistant, that assistant is meant there to take things off your plate, to make sure the assistant understands how I can help, how I can save you time. Hey, can I get that off your plate and onto mine? So I think there's a bunch of work we do around being helpful. This is especially important for Windows. Then the other thing, and this is really where the magic is proactive. If you just had an assistant and you had to tell that person, do this, do that, at some point, you're not as tied to what that assistant can be for you. We really want Cortana to get smart and learn so that she gets more proactive over time. She feels more confident doing things for you because you've invested the time to tell her things, and then she can get more things out of your way. That's where we've seen the most magic happen on the phone. When Cortana finally learns where home is and can show you traffic without you having to say anything, that's where people have this, you can just look at their face and they go, wow, that is amazing, that is powerful. I can't wait to see Cortana do more things. Let me tell Cortana more things about me so I can have more of that proactive interaction. So very early on, we decided to personify Cortana, and that meant two things. One, it meant we actually had to come up with a name. It just so happened that the program manager that had the initial idea had already chosen the code name Cortana, because to us, a bunch of people that had played Halo before, there is no better assistant in terms of Master Chief, the character, has this assistant that helps him get out of all kinds of crazy situations and jams, is there for them, that relationship gets personal. It just felt like a vision that we could attach ourselves to for many years. And I think we surprised people by internally talking to our Halo team, getting them behind the concept, working on all of the different things to bring a little bit of affinity to Halo, but trying to keep distance between, there's a Halo universe with Cortana, this is different. This is Cortana that takes cues from that universe, but it's your assistant. It's not the assistant in Halo, it's your personal assistant. So just a great internal collaboration, but again, listening to our customers and really doing something we felt was right for the product. The other thing we thought about early on was, if you just have a voice, that doesn't really create the kind of emotional connection we were going for. There's nothing like having a conversation with somebody, seeing their facial expressions, seeing how they're responding to you. So to us, we had to couple the name and the voice with an object. The question is, what is that object? Is it an avatar? Is it something that we hadn't thought of yet? We settled pretty quickly on the idea of a simple geometric shape. We had a bunch of character designers, and the first idea they had was, you can do a lot of amazing work with simple shapes. You can make those shapes bounce, you can make them expand, you can make them bow a little bit if they might be embarrassed about something. So they played with all these different exercises, and when we saw it, we fell in love immediately. This is what we created early on, and we think this is what sets us apart. It sets us apart from others in the space that are trying to create digital assistants, because we don't think they've nailed the personal human connection of it.